Hello, my name is Mr. Bernard Dull, and I've been what I believe is known as tagged by a gentleman called MrRationalThought to talk to you today upon the subject of ghosts, that is, dead people whose spirit or soul, if you will, takes to wandering about, causing all sorts of highly interesting and mysterious goings-on. Well, I can tell you now that I'm most assuredly a believer in such otherworldliness, or ghosts, if you'd rather. I can say this without fear of contradiction, as I've personally been subject to their demonic and hellish ways and behaviours. If you'll permit me, that is, if you're not busy doing anything else, perhaps you're about to go out shopping or going to the post office to collect your pension. Don't let me stop you. I'd like to share my experience of walking that line between this world and the next. I would ask, however, that you take steps to prepare yourself for what I will, I'm certain, chill your soul to its very core. I remember it was 5:15 on March the 15th, 2011. I will never forget that date, as on the previous day I had, as a matter of record, taken my hamster, little Bernard, to the veterinary surgeon to be treated for distemper. I work in the local library and was responsible that day for what is known in the trade as locking up, which is where I secure the library in the evening against young people or criminals. It is my usual habit to set the date to 3 weeks hence on the book stamps in readiness for the next day, and that fateful night was no different. I set the stamps down in their usual place so that they could more easily be found the following morning. I returned home, ate a delicious cheese-based meal prepared by my lovely wife Ada before retiring to bed for the night. The next day I arrived at work to find everything much as I'd left it the previous night. A new girl, known as Miss Stevens, had started the previous week and was already in full swing. I admired her enthusiasm and said to her, "Good morning, Miss Stevens, I admire your enthusiasm." Well, I opened the door to let the public in and assumed my usual position behind the desk, unaware that the thin veil betwixt worlds was about to be ripped asunder at any moment. It was then that a woman with a deathly white face and black hair floated up to the desk, making no noise whatsoever. I noticed that her eyes were missing, and she floated about 2 feet off the ground, bleeding heavily from a large wound across her neck. She placed the book Haunting for Dummies on the counter, and I asked her for her library card. She responded by emitting a high-pitched screeching sound before placing her card upon the counter. I'd been trained to deal with young people, so I remained calm despite her lack of conversation. I stamped the return date on the book and checked that I'd stamped it straight, as per policy. Well, to say my blood ran cold was an understatement, for there, on the page, as plain as I stand here before you today, the day corresponding to 3 weeks and 1 day had appeared on the page, effectively gifting the reader with an extra day of use. Clearly, the spirit realm had chosen me for their target of hellish tricks and ceaseless torment, and I'm not ashamed to say I fainted, most probably a directed attack from the hellish ghosts around me. I'll never forget that day as long as I live. I should like to take this opportunity to further tag Mr. Cheeky Vimto 0.8 for his take upon this story.